So Regan, we're really excited to have you join the firm and bring the wealth of VA knowledge that you have to the law office of Will and Helixon. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to join.
Well, one of the things that had prevented us from really expanding into the veterans arena was that there are just so many different folks that say they help veterans, ranging from, the unaccredited or claims agents to VSO, what are they? Not veteran service officers, right? Mm-hmm. To accredited lawyers, to unaccredited lawyers. What's the difference in all those? I mean, what does it mean to be accredited?
Sure, that's a great question. I always tell clients that an accredited attorney is your safest bet. First off, we're regulated by Congress. So accredited attorneys have to be accredited by the VA, which means they go through a VA training. And then we're also able to get VA access cards, known as the PIV card. So I'm able to log into the VA system and see everything that the VA sees. So I'm able to get a client's entire file, their military history, past C&P exams, evidence they've submitted to the VA, medical records. So we're able to have the same view that a VA rating officer has of a client's file. Now, the unaccredited agents and the veteran service officers, the VSOs may be able to get into VBMS, which is the database, but they don't have the lawyer's perspective of being able to analyze a case file and find those legal errors and the clear and unmistakable errors. And then the unaccredited agents are acting blind. So they have to rely on what the veteran tells them and what records the veteran brings to them. So they don't even get the bird's eye view of the client's case file. They're acting on just what the veteran is able to tell them. So the person with the most information and the most expertise is a VA-accredited attorney.
Okay. And here at the law office of Will and Helixon, you are an accredited VA attorney?
Correct, I am. Mm-hmm.
All right. And so what's a claim agent?
A claim agent is a veteran service officer or someone who may be accredited by the VA and has undergone the training that the VA has to become accredited, but they are not an attorney most of the time, unless an attorney chooses to just be a claim agent and not act as an attorney. But a claim agent is able to help a veteran with their initial filings and work at the regional office.
Now, can they charge a fee for that?
VSOs do not charge fees. Claim agents, who might be claim sharks or anyone who's just assisting a veteran who's unaccredited, they do charge fees, but there are state legislatures out there and federal legislation in the work to make that illegal.
All right, so your initial claim, you shouldn't pay.
Correct. Yes, you're not allowed to pay or charge a fee for an initial claim.
All right, so someone came to us and said, hey, will you help me file an initial claim? We might be able to help them, but that's free service.
Correct. I provide advice on filing an initial claim and kind of help the veteran flesh out what their medical issues are and how to file them, but I do not charge a fee for initial claim.
Okay. Now, you talked about lawyers who are accredited like us. What about an unaccredited lawyer? What are they?
An unaccredited attorney may help a veteran with a VA claim, but they're not going to be able to represent the veteran in front of the Court of Appeals for Veteran Claims, and they're also not going to be able to see the client's entire case file and log into VBMS with that access card that we talked about. So an accredited attorney is going to have all the information already, and the only information that they're going to need from the client is private medical records that the client has not given to the VA in the past. Otherwise, they see everything the VA sees. An unaccredited attorney would have to rely on the client to go get their file, usually through a FOIA request. It takes up to a year, longer than a year, who knows with FOIA requests, and then the client would have to provide the attorney with the file. So an accredited attorney is your best bet to get the safest, most efficient, and shortest time to get the client file.
Look, a lot of these veterans, they don't have a lot of money, right? They're not sitting around, with $10,000 in their top dresser drawer. How do they pay for attorney's fees for a veteran's appeal, a claim appeal?
Great question. So VA-accredited attorneys work off contingency fee basis. We get 20% of the retroactive amount that we win for the veteran. So if I don't win a retroactive amount for the veteran owes me nothing. So what happens is that when a veteran onboards, we file what's called an intent to file, and that's the placeholder date for any subsequent claims that we file for the veteran afterwards. So say the veteran comes to me and he's 50% service connected and receiving a 50% rating. I will file an ITF, and I say it takes me 2 years to get the veteran up to 100%. Hypothetically, the veteran would get $10,000 of retroactive benefits dating back to when he onboarded and I filed that ITF. The VA pays me 20% of that directly out of the back pay. So they would send me $2,000 and send the veteran the remaining $8,000. So there's no money exchange between me and the veteran. Since I'm VA accredited and in the VA system, the payment is sent directly from the VA to me out of the veteran's back pay. And then anything the veteran gets from that point forward is theirs to keep.
So it's like you never even missed the money.
Correct.
All right. Now I've heard of lawyers that charge more than 20%. I mean, is that a common practice?
Correct. There are lawyers that can charge up to 30%. I think OGC recognizes 30% can be a reasonable fee, but that's not going to be a direct fee agreement with the VA. The VA will only recognize fee agreements up to 20% to pay that attorney directly out of the client's back pay. If an attorney wants to charge 30% to the client, that's something for them to work out with a fee agreement with the client. I do not do 30% agreements. I charge the minimum 20% so that the VA pays me directly out of the client's back pay and the client does not have to worry about paying me directly.
Right. And I've even heard of lawyers like charging an upfront fee. Does that happen?
Lawyers often do not do that, but the claim sharks do.
Claim sharks, okay.
Correct. So claim sharks or anyone who wants to contract with the veteran is just going to be regulated by state contract law. And they can charge $5,000 to a veteran for helping them with their VA claim and promise them that we'll get you up to 100%. Those claims agents do not have access to VBMS, and they are oftentimes illegal, but states aren't enforcing the law against those claim agents. It's a point of contention between accredited agents and non-accredited agents. Hopefully in the future, it's going to be that only accredited agents and attorneys can help VA or can help veterans with their claim.
All right, and it's only an accredited lawyer that can go to which court?
The Court of Appeals for Veteran Claims.
Okay, and how many of those cases would you say wind up in that forum?
I would say maybe about 20% of all cases go to CAVC. Oftentimes the cases go to the board and the case is reviewed by a veterans law judge. And the veterans law judge can often pinpoint the legal issues and the mistakes of the regional office and will either correct it or remand it back to the regional office for further development. I would say out of those, about maybe 20% of board cases would go to CAVC. And at that point, you're having a federal court look at the file and also find the errors. And they will kick it back down to the board with instructions for how to fix the errors.
Well, look, my expertise is military law and specifically courts-martial, right? That's where I've got all my experience. And the one thing that really bothers me the most as being a court-martial defense lawyer are barracks lawyers. People who are not lawyers, who had something similar happen to them, and they think that they know everything. It might be specialist snuffy, but the barracks lawyers really interfere with my ability to provide really sound advice to my client. Does that exist in the VA?
Absolutely, especially in this day and age of social media. Everybody is on social media talking about how to get up to 100%. This is what I did. This is what I said. You have to do this. I would say the internet is filled with barracks lawyers when it comes to VA disability. Most of the time they're wrong, and where barracks lawyers come in is they address subjective conditions like migraines, and they'll tell veterans, oh, you have to say you have to have more than 6 migraines to be able to get this rating. When it comes down to it, though, you're going to need evidence to show that you have these conditions. So I will not help veterans who, with fraudulent information or who listen to these barracks lawyers and, will come back and say, oh, I have 6 migraines a year because I heard a guy on Facebook tell me that. I'll be the first to say, no. It's never mentioned in your medical records. You've never seen a doctor about it. And that's not what you told me until you saw a guy on Facebook tell you to do that. So it's often easy to find where the barracks lawyers are coming out of the woodwork. But I would say the majority of the time, the veterans have medical records or they have very detailed LACE statements showing their injuries in service, the chronicity since service, and how they suffer in the present day and age. And which is all we need for service connection.
Well, it sounds to me like if a service member really wants it done right, they need to hire an accredited veterans lawyer.
Absolutely.
If you're a veteran and you need to appeal your disability rating, we're the law office of Will M. Helixon. We are your warrior advocates. You defend the nation. We defend you.